mission to reach the nation, and it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. And today I have not one, not two, but three guests today. The Lovengers, as well as Tifini Austin, who I have known for many, many years. We are both products of the African Caribbean Dance Theater, ACDT for life. And so she, through her organization, is planning a free family event along with the Lovengers this Saturday, December 2nd, from 1 to 5 at the Hole here in Tallahassee that focuses on Black wellness. And so that's our topic tonight. What is Black wellness and why is it important? What is Black wellness and why is it important? But before I bring them all on, I want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? Let us know in the comments. Please put your city, your state, so we can give you a shout out. This is an interactive live, and we fully expect to hear from you. Your comments, your questions are welcome, and we want to engage with you in a meaningful way. So tag a friend, let them know they need to be on here. Please like, please share, and let them know they want to be part of this conversation. So I see you all. Jolanda Hollingshed in Tampa, Florida. Thank you for being here. And Lucky 386 in Deltona. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. For those of you who may be new to the platform, I definitely invite you to subscribe to Conversations with Nicole on YouTube. We are live here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. And our focus is primarily on Black and Brown wellness, mental wellness specifically in those communities, and encouraging folks to get their checkup from the neck up and be their best selves. But we have a wide range of topics that we cover, and so we are excited to talk about Black wellness on this Wellness Wednesday. So again, please let folks know because we do have quite the conversation lined up tonight. So I see you, Nick Rains, here in Tallahassee, Florida, who is also a clinician of color. I appreciate you, my brother. Tracy Golay here in Tallahassee. Latasha, I think maybe in Tampa. Thank you for being here. And Miss Jeanette, thank you, Miss Jeanette, for your continued support of the programming. She is down in Miami Gardens, Florida. So lots of you are on YouTube tonight, which is absolutely great. We need all of those views. So I am, again, really excited about this conversation. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest on. So I'm going to start with the Lovengers, which is quite the neat name, which consists of midwife Audrey, also known as the wonderful midwife Marvel. She is a mother, a midwife, and real life superhero. She is the first Black president of the Midwives Association of Florida and co-founder of the Lovengers. She is a licensed midwife in the state of Florida with over 10 years of clinical experience in patient care, education, and training of midwifery students. Using her gifts, her mission is to be mother and midwife, a new world where tomorrow is a beautiful place for every human being because the quality of life matters. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Miles because he and Audrey are together. Miles is the Iron Man of tomorrow. He is an artist, academic ally, and co-founder of the Lovengers. This singer, songwriter, producer, filmmaker, father, and entrepreneur uses his gifts to bring healing and balance to a world that kills his mom and threatens his children's future. If we want to build a better world, the way we win matters. I'll tell you a little bit about the Lovengers. The Lovengers are a band, transformational speakers, and real life superheroes. They use their gifts to elevate spirits with music, to educate minds with workshops and online resources, and to empower everybody to be the superheroes we've been waiting for by creating collaborative community fundraising projects. So you all help me welcome Audrey and Miles, also known as the Lovengers.
On here.
Glad to have you. So tell us, I ask folks that come on to tell us about you. Who are you? Not what you do, but who
Mhm.
are you? So whoever wants to go first.
I would say that the who I am is an ongoing discovery, but the who I am that I've discovered so far is resilient, courageous, and flows like water and can transform at a moment. So that is the who I've been, especially in the last little bit, like this last stretch era of my 30s. you know, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like discovering who she is one day to the next because it's always sort of an emergent thing. And the same is true for me too. There's some through lines ever since I was little. Uh, there's pictures of me with superhero stuff on and so on and so forth. So, when I was real little, I had gone through some big things and my whole life everything's been big. My whole life is just very big and vibrant and rainbowy and I think that there's some cool ways we can put that to use in the world. So I spend my time and my energy working on that.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, welcome to you both. And I look forward to our conversation. So next is I'm gonna call it a woman of the hour because this is look the whole reason we are here. Uh,
Yeah.
is Miss Tiffany D. Austin, a licensed and certified professional midwife trained in providing a high standard of care within out of hospital settings. Throughout North Florida, she is greatly motivated with diverse experience, a solid background in education, and has the desire to excel in a career in family and child sciences with an emphasis on community involvement and human service. She presently is the CEO of Fertile Ground Midwifery, which she established in 2021 to provide excellent midwifery and perinatal services to individuals in their childbearing years as a supplement to the patients that she serves, all with unique family compositions. The parent company, Fertile Ground Family Services Inc., was subsequently established in an effort to address additional social parenting and sustainability needs. Miss Austin holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in sociology from the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, any rattlers in the house, where she is currently the community health advisor for a research study on colorectal cancer screening amongst African Americans. She holds an Associate of Arts degree in general education, an Associate of Science degree in early childhood education, and teaches 3 courses at the National College of Midwifery. She is a lover of dance, music, traditional West African ensembles, and is a 200-hour certified yoga instructor. And her motivation comes from a deep connection that she has for her African heritage and her quest to seek knowledge in every endeavor, in every person. And I can attest to all of that. So help me welcome Miss Tiffany Austin.
Greetings, everyone. So happy to be here.
Hey, hey.
Yes, yes. So, Tiff, you're not getting away, ma'am. We need to know who is Tiffany Austin, not what you do, but who are you?
Ah, I mean, other than what was stated in my bio, I like Audrey, and I think many of us are figuring out who we are, and how best to use all of this that God has given us and blessed us with. So, um, in my 40 years on this
I'm
earth,
almost there.
I um I just have always had a love for children and families and the miracle of how we all came to be here. So my mission in life is just to empower as many people as I can to be advocates and the co-creators in their health and their wellness. So that's what I do. And anytime drums are playing, I'm dancing.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. And a wonderful dancer and instructor you are. So, again, so excited that you are here. So we got lots of people that have been chiming in since the last time I paused to acknowledge Mr. Michael Love, clinician in Jacksonville. Thank you for being here. Quasi, my brother in Atlanta, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Sister Amanla, let's go, my good sister, she says. Yes, thank you for being here. She's a doctor, MD doctor here in Tallahassee. And we got Mama Austin on the line. And that's my baby. Thank you for being here. And Miss Camille, good evening. Greetings. Thank you for stopping by, Camille. Appreciate you. All right, Joseph. I'm going to kill his last name, so I'm just going to say good evening, Joseph. Thank you for being here. All right. So I want to start off by talking about this event because that is really kind of, what we're trying to highlight. We're going to talk about Black wellness, but tell us more about this event.
So this event really is an incredible celebration to elevate the community through the arts and the dance. And so ourselves being artists, we figured we can put our superpowers, as matter of fact, right, our gifts together in order to make an impactful conversation and also something that empowers superheroes doing the work on the front lines, i.e. Tifini, especially with her NPO supplementing what she's already doing as a midwife. And, I've had the privilege of being her preceptor, which has been a really fun journey. But circling back on this, I guess you can say, over the last 3 years or so, when we've connected and we talk about where we are in life and how we're struggling, people who are doing what we're doing, this shouldn't also be the case, right? Mm-hmm. So it really came out of, at the end of December 2021, I quit everything. And I was like, I got to rethink everything. So we developed this model, which is the Helping You Helps We, this collaborative community fundraising event. And so now that's how we kind of do that. And I'm really excited to see Alcumin, the African dance troupe that's going to be there. And there's going to be Drum Circle and, some other vendors and whatnot. So yeah,
the whole format is born out of our sort of philosophy, which is our methodology is elevate, educate, and empower, in that order a lot of times, because it's hard to really open and receive information if you're not in a place where you're open and feel safe to be welcomed, or you just feel good, whatever. So the better you feel, the more open you are. And so if we're trying to get people information that they need in order to empower themselves, then bringing people together and elevating everyone, and providing businesses and NPOs and the community and artists and other creators to all come, have a way to come together, like the Avengers, to come together and conduct this activity of elevating each other, educating and empowering one another. And so the idea, this is actually the first one we've done quite like this. So you're all getting to test it out with us for the first time. So I'm super excited to put it into action, but that's the philosophy behind it.
Nice. Yep. Nice. So what can people expect at the event, and give us just kind of the details in terms of, again, I know I mentioned it when we opened up, but the time, the location, and kind of what people can expect and who this event is for.
Yeah, so this event is for all community members, anybody who has a stake in maternal health, specifically Black maternal health, and family wellness in general. So whether you are a holistic care provider or, in the medical field or in some of the additional fields, such as like a dietitian or anything like that, And also, if you're a growing family who wants to know more about the resources that you have in your community and why it's important, this is a conversation we need to be having, you know, especially when we look at the statistics that are facing Black women in birth. And then when you look at every other statistic, they're not great either in our overall wellness. And when we look at diabetes and cardiovascular issues and so on and so forth. And so, you know, we need to be well informed in order to be able to actually drive our own wellness. And that's a huge important impact of that. So
Yeah.
part of this event flow is really going to be community centered. It's going to be at the Whole, a place of healing. So if anyone's ever been there, it's kind of like a park-esque like environment.
It's like
So be
outdoor.
prepared with like your chairs or blanket. If there's a, you know, open community drum circle after the event, feel free to bring some drums. But really to be able to be there and absorb the conversation and mingle with everyone that's there afterwards, so we can, you know, just together share from each other's resources.
So the way we end up implementing that is usually we'll sort of do like a little introduction. We'll get everyone together once it's time to start. It's usually they usually run 2 to 4 hours. This one, I think we've stretched it out to be a good 4 hours. And like Audrey was alluding to, there might be opportunities for us to all do like a little after party hangout too, depending on, you know, however that shakes out. But normally we 2 to 4 hours, we'll get introductions going and everything like that. And then we'll have a special guest for, I don't know, anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes. So in this case, we have like an education bit. So we've got Tiffany's going to be doing speaking, right? And so we get to really hit that education element right up front. And then we take, I don't know, the next probably hour and a half or so. And Audrey and I will be sharing our music and storytelling. And then we close the official proceedings for the event with like a little sort of like reception afterward for about 45 minutes or so, where the speakers can answer questions, you know, or mingle with people, and any vendors that are there can, you know, do business and so on. And of course, people can meet us and talk with us too. So I think that's sort of generally how the Lovengers Experience goes. And like Audrey was saying, it really is in this particular case, it is absolutely centered around Black wellness and Black maternal health. And I think that's a wonderful reason to get together.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So free family event Saturday 1 to 5 at the Whole, 3030 South Adams Street. There'll be music, there'll be educational piece, there'll be food, but it is open to the public, family event, and there'll be an opportunity to sow into Fertile Ground, which is and you all have said NPO, but for those of you who may not know what that is, that's nonprofit organization. Okay. So again, the community is invited to come out here in Tallahassee, and we'll definitely mention this again at the end, but I did want to mention it at the beginning, just to kind of understand like how we have all kind of come together here in this place and space to have this conversation. All right, so Black wellness, what is it and why is it important?
Well, I think, you know, if I may just kind of jump in and give my 2 cents, and I'd like to hear what you guys also, what resonates with you. But first of all, starting off with like breaking up it into 2 concepts. First of all, what is wellness, right? So we have the mind, we have the body, we have the spirit. Wellness is when we are able to, in those 3 things, be able to be in our best bodily selves, our best mental selves, and our soul purpose is able to shine through that. When we have issues that impact us on a body level or a mental level, that has rippling effects. So currently in this paradigm in the US, we have the medical industrial complex, along with, you know, systemic racial issues that impact the ability to either maintain wellness or to access wellness. And so part of this whole gathering and meeting is being able to put together our own resources and create community to buffer ourselves that further than safeguards our wellness. So our wellness truly is our wealth, because if you don't have your wellness and you're sick, that costs you something, either monetarily, energetically, or any of that kind of stuff. And the world that we live in, everything is, when you break it down to its most smallest component parts, is energy. So if ultimately our energy from either direction cannot be where it needs to be for our resonant wellness selves, which is a particular vibration, then we can't help but be that in the world and vibrate that frequency that we're at. So that's part of why number one is elevating. You know, what does that you look like, especially in each community? I think for Black people, you know, you got to get that dance on. And when we think about our roots, drumming and African dancing goes deep, and it is in our DNA. And, you know, when studies are looking at movement, we see that literally dancing shakes a component in our brain that actually helps elevate our mood and releases certain neurotransmitters. And everything starts with thought, which then from there, when you're starting to literally feel better and think better, your body starts to follow in alignment with that, because your body listens to the messages that the brain is telling it. You know, so we have a lot of different experts out there right now, Dr. Gabor Mate and various other things, that talk about the impacts of trauma and how these things change how we can even show up in the world, how we can even think, and from there, who we end up being, right? So I feel like to really truly embody the Black wellness that's capable, which has to do with where we came from, but all the way to right here, right now, what is the highest potential that we can be? And so I feel like having that component of that helps to awaken the DNA, elevate the frequency, and it connects community. That was also part of what these gatherings did, right? Like community came together in solidarity, but you can almost, you know, realize that in every event, there was some type of dancing, some type of drumming, some type of, you know, community gathering. So, you know, for me, Black wellness is the ability for the individual all the way to the family, to the community, to be able to live in an environment where they are able to have things that impact their wellness be buffered while we're in the process of transforming the world to something better where we no longer have those issues. So that's my 2 cents.
That was like $20, actually. All right, let me pause because I see some more folks that have joined us. Let's see. We have Miss Iris here in Tally. Thank you for being here. Miss Princess, also from Tally. Thank you for being here. Tanisha Miller in Tally as well. Thank you for being here. Tangela Brown. We appreciate you. We got Auntie B. Bernice Howard is on the line. Thank you for being here. Miss Felicia Dilbert, who is also here in Tally. And yes, Camille, there is a flyer for the event. We will share that later on. So you said a lot, Audrey, as it relates to Black wellness. But I'm curious, you know, it's 2023. People might say, why are we differentiating? Wellness is wellness, right? Why are we differentiating between Black or white or yellow or red or what have you? Like, why? What's the purpose?
Tiffany, do you want to go?
Yeah, so I think that we all have our place in this universe, right?
Mhm.
So, and what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander. So we have different DNA, we have different genetic makeup, And we know that the way people of color deal with trauma is very different, and it presents itself very different. So I think it's very important that we narrow down what is pertinent to us individually and as a family and as a community. Um, and of course, having that knowledge of that education, so you can be empowered and elevate yourself and your community. So I think that, and this is just for everybody, but for folks of color, we have to be really careful about the messages that are out there. We hear the same statistics all the time, whether it's maternal and child health or cardiovascular issues or whatever the case may be. You know that Black folks have the highest whatever. Audrey, we heard this all through school, and many people will stop and say, well, why is that? Why is that? We can ask the question, well, why? But I think it's a better question to ask, how is this thing that we're talking about, how is that affecting me and my family and my ideals and my, because I think that Black folks, we have some pretty strong convictions that aren't necessarily rooted in truth all the time. So it's important that we get together, have these kind of conversations, share experiences, talk about family issues. I'm gonna say it again, talk about family issues, especially when it's dealing with health. It shouldn't be a big secret that somebody has cancer or, those are genetic things that we should be checking the box, when we do our health history. But a lot of times we don't talk about these things for whatever reason. We have our superstitions of maybe speaking of an illness may increase, the illness. But I think that the education part is paramount. And I work with more than just pregnant women and families that are expecting. So all the way to the elderly, I'm finding that they may have the medications, they may have the blood pressure cuff and the glucometer at home, but if they aren't able to interpret those results and know exactly what that means for their body, then what's the point? What's the point? So the education, it really, I know Audrey spoke of earlier when we were talking how the Black midwives were the physicians. We were the, not technical physicians, but we were the person that the community showed up to before going to a hospital and took care of all kinds of issues. And so I'm finding that same thing with my practice. And again, as you said, that's why I started the nonprofit, because, for instance, where I am now, I'm at the Resource Center at 1704 Joe Louis Street in Tallahassee, Florida, where we provide food, we provide resources for employment and housing, and we have a clothing closet for the whole family, not just mamas and babies, but that we have clothing for men and children. And so I think it's really what it's about, speaking our truth, our truth individually, what is going on with us, having a safe space to share that information. And the goal is to, get people the resources that they need. So we're not just out here alone. One thing I found out that you're not in it alone. Whatever the situation is, somebody has gone through it before you, and and can probably help you kind of fast track through what you're going through. So that's so Black wellness for me. The education piece. If I think that would, if we could get that down, it would cover the elevating souls and empowering individuals to be their best self, because we don't really question, ask questions anymore. So
So I'm gonna jump in here.
mhm.
Well, actually, we're at about halfway through our conversation already. So let me pause for those of you who may be just joining us. Our topic is what is Black wellness and why is it important? I'm on with the Lovengers, as well as, and am I correct pronouncing that correct? Lovengers.
Lavengers, yeah.
There you
Lavengers.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Like the
Lovengers.
Avengers, but with
The
love.
Lovengers. Yes, the Lovengers. Midwife Audrey and Miles, as well as with Tifini Austin. And so we've been talking about Black wellness and why is it important. And so, Tiffany, you just mentioned about education. And I think the piece with education is like, who are some of those trusted sources for the education? Because historically, I don't believe that testing and research has necessarily included Black and brown
Mhm.
bodies. And so as a result, maybe the results of certain tests or research has been applied to persons of color, but it's been of none effect because our makeup is a bit different. And so, who would be some of those trusted sources of education? Because, of course, we have the street committee that's saying this, that, and the other.
Of
And
Yeah.
course.
of
Of
course,
course.
like you
And
mentioned, there's
I
superstitions about this, that, and the other, or,
mhm.
what mom and them used to do and that sort of thing. So, where will we get these? Where are some of the sources of good information for the Black and brown community about their wellness?
Well, I would say first off, to anything you look at, for you want it to be scholarly, but there is a huge oversight even in that, right? So sometimes having additional keywords that may have studies specifically that center around Black and brown people, but frankly you want to look for studies or resources that are authored by Black and brown people, because it is now centered from a place of a lived experience. Now, this is going to be a twofold thing here, right? Just to add on to what Tiffany was saying and what Nicole also had highlighted, is that when we connect the history of how we got here to this present moment, day and time, and look at that whole thing and zoom out, we realize that concordant care, or frankly, people that are from a similar lived experience, when you say something to them that has a different kind of weight and they hear you, and study this is actually tested and proven. So it's one of those things where when we think about it, it's really not an idea of going back to like segregating. It really is down to actually empowering and making sure we have more Black and BIPOC providers, because when we come from that part of life, there is a deeper understanding of the social issues and impacts. So the treatment now is truly more holistic. That is the connection there. Whereas when someone has a lot of biases due to just social structures, because in their lived experience, that's not something that they would ever know or identify, then when we see that social issues also are impacting health issues, the provider can't accurately or properly, connect with that. So the intention may be there, but the actual statistical outcome does not pale out that way. And a very interesting, note to add to this. a couple years ago, I was doing like a continuing education training, and there was a doctor, an OB, at the University of South Florida who was giving a presentation. And in the presentation, he discussed that the disparities between Black and white women were very small back before 1830s. So when we know and understand the history of America, right? America was birthed by Black midwives who served everyone. So it's very interesting that when you continue on that history and you look at it, specifically in Florida around 1830, I apologize, 1835 specifically, there was a huge push and movement to push out the Black midwives. And there were campaigns that called them dirty and various other things so that people could start trusting the hospitals more. And this is where we started to see a big shift from births that were occurring in the home to births that were now occurring in the hospital. This is where the divide in health disparities started to especially grow. And so this wasn't the deduction of his presentation, but upon listening to that and knowing what I know of the history of Florida midwives, that was the line. Was in 1835 when Florida did the campaign of getting rid of Black midwives, and now we had twilight sleep and we had white, obviously biased providers. Come on now, we're talking about 1835 here. So clearly it's not a question why we have disparity issues between Black and brown. It's just right now it's not as conscious or obvious. And so the NIH put out a statistic about how if there is at least one Black provider in a town, that doesn't mean that they service only Black people. Just having a Black provider in that town had so much incredible increases in the overall health and wellness of the whole community, even if it was majority white. Just having the presence of a Black provider. So just expand your brain about like what that concept even is. So wherever the Black person and family can thrive and be well, we know that the overall conditions of that environment is well for everyone. So that is why centering on Black wellness is absolutely paramount and important, because it will transform it for everyone.
Wow. Very. I'm just blown away. Oh, go ahead.
I got so much to say, but hey, I just
talks like this all the time.
This is just like a little bit, but
so cool.
Audrey is wonderful. And Audrey was, just to speak to Black wellness and my wellness, was my first Black preceptor, as she said. And a preceptor is basically a midwife that you train under. And just to have that experience for as short as or as long as it was, I mean, you all hear her. It was priceless. In the journey to becoming a midwife was just grueling. So just to have a Black midwife who actually cared about like my process and where I was in the process and, how I'm moving along, it really did. It did something for my wellness as well. So absolutely having Black providers in your area, it makes, and I travel 5 hours to get to her. So that's how important, it was for me to connect with a provider that looked like me. Maybe not have the same lived experiences, but definitely have some similarities just because, the color of our skin. So I thank you for that, Audrey.
Absolutely. And it absolutely was my privilege. And so looking back, it's one of those things where, and I don't know if y'all know this about the midwifery industry in Florida, it is predominantly white. The last time that I had done a statistic check in general of the midwives in the state, I think right now we're at about 455 licensed midwives. And the last count I had done was that less than 50 of us identified as BIPOC. And for anybody who doesn't know that, Black, Indigenous, or people of color. And I think it was less than 30 of us were Black. Which is incredible and crazy. That is, first of all, just that resource is so scarce, especially in Florida. And I've had people travel to me from a far radius because they had poor outcomes and experiences either in a hospital or with other providers. And so, coming from the two-sided experience of like birthing in this medical industrial complex and also working in it too, and then training students and then also holding leadership, and it's just like, oh, this is so kind of broken and sideways. If we step out of the system and create our own insular system, that is really how we create an antidote. And frankly, that is just me picking up the fire of the legacy of Black midwives and of the warriors and community aunties and just like queens and goddesses that raised and trained me. When we think about how we all get here and who are the pillars in community that really help maintain survival, it is especially Black women. And so knowing the heart of a midwife, it takes a special person to do this kind of job. And also, like, I know how hard it was for me to go through my midwifery journey and to see how hard it was for Tifini to go through her midwifery journey. And here she is on top of that doing this additional work. That was one of those things where it's like, no, number one, I think this needs to be the first place where we start at home, so like she's another sister midwife in the game fighting the good fight. So I need to make sure she's taken care of so she can keep doing what she's doing while I'm doing what I'm doing. And if we can replicate this process, then ultimately all of us are doing better, which means the work that we can do in our community for other people can only be better. Yeah.
What role do doulas play in the work that you all do?
They support the client emotionally and physically and in whatever way they need them to be. But they are strictly on the social aspect or even cultural aspect. I've serviced clients from all kinds of cultural backgrounds. So having a doula that's either Amish or Jewish or this or that or whatever is a huge component of being able to like have your life experience honored while you're receiving the services you need in birth, like, massage or relaxation techniques or any of that kind of stuff. They do not do anything medical and are not trained or licensed to do or oversee anything medical. And that's the difference between a midwife and a doula. Midwives are also caring. I've rubbed many backs and butts and feet and all that, so while we listen to the baby, double hip squeeze, while we're tending to the whole family, right? Like, dad, you good? Okay, great. Kids, okay, good. Mom's good. The whole thing. It's really a whole, you're everybody's auntie. There's been times I'm like holding the baby while mom's in the shower having a contraction. And so, but really my primary focus is how is the health and wellness on a medical level of the birthing person and the baby. That's the foundational component of what we're doing in birth. However, the title midwife, as Tifini said, covers a whole community because I'm usually educating grandma, like, yeah, no, we don't do that anymore. This is what this is the new standard, And I've had literally families say that their whole entire way of eating and living is completely different, all because of during their care with me, being taught the information of just how to eat right and fuel their body, which then transfers to the family. I'm not even talking about pregnancy. I'm just talking about overall, these are the components that our bodies need in order to have wellness. And now that they know that, they're like, well, I need to stop doing that at home. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. So now the whole family benefits, and now grandma benefits because they're going over there and making sure that whatever is in their home is also well. So the heart of Black women, whether they're birthing or midwives, is the essence that filters out wellness for all.
Absolutely.
Oh no, we got muted? We got froze?
No, I
All
don't
right.
think so.
We're here.
You just dropped the mic, babe.
Yeah,
Yeah, mic drop.
technology is doing what it does.
Yeah.
Bernice said this is really eye-opening. Yes, it is. And Mama Austin said this information is priceless. Agreed. My mom has just joined us from Miami. Thank you for being here, Ma. And we also have Nile Valley Temple saying greetings, peace, and blessings, everyone. So thank you for being here. So whew, all right. We've wanted to focus on elevating, educating, and empowering Black wellness. I think we've talked about educate. We've also talked a little bit about elevate. Let's talk about empower. How can we empower Black wellness? Definitely, I think by assisting the midwives, so Black midwives. So I definitely want to hear you all what we can do to support you. But are there other ways that we can empower Black wellness in the community?
First and foremost, by getting informed and doing it yourself, right? Because then when we ourselves are practicing it, then then we're echoing it. And, part of how we do that is with our community resources, which then pours into each other. So what holistic community wellness providers do you have where you live that are, Black or brown? Because now you have a twofold benefit of being able to, help preserve that resource in the community, but then also get serviced from them because they know specifically your needs relative to your lived experience. And then, specifically empowering Black midwives, come to this event. We have a custom event merch. And, we really wanted this model to be one where we feel completely fun and carefree and elevated. And so in that elevation, when we, sometimes we all know when we see those fund drives, like, okay, it's that time of year again, people's like, I don't know. I don't think I have this or that or whatever. So I realized that part of, what I was hearing or understanding what, ancestors are leading us to do is that we need to elevate out of the paradigm of suffering and poverty and scarcity. And by doing that is changing even how we go about helping ourselves, which is why it's like, this is going to be a unique fundraising event where it's not, directly about donating. It's about participating and in that being inspired and buying merch that you're probably already going to buy. Like, how many people go to free concerts and buy stuff? Okay. And a portion of those proceeds goes directly to Tifini's organization for her to be able to keep doing what she's doing. So while we're coming together, just learning, feeling good, the very action of us spending our money with other Black businesses is further than completing the circle of empowering the businesses that we want and need to continue to serve us, while us gaining access to those resources, while this whole activity and purchasing merchandise just automatically, goes to continuing a Black midwife doing her work.
Nice. So we have two comments. Now Valley said, yes, I agree. We must take more responsibility for our own wellness. For over 49 years, we have given that responsibility over to others to feed us and medically treat us. So
100%.
We have suffered. Yes. And we got Brother Kufu on. Thank you for being here, my brother. So Khufu is the owner of The Hole, which is where the event will be taking place. He said, "Hello, everyone. Great subject to me. To address this subject, you must first address Black consciousness. Although our flesh is free, our souls are still trapped in the cages, chains, and shackles of slavery, colonization, and racism.
Mm-hmm.
Until we
Ashe.
learn our true self and our relationship to the ancient world, Black health will continue to be weak."
There you
Yes,
go.
Brother Khufu. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So you said a lot. I think that I would like, and I know we're getting close to wrapping up our time, but you mentioned holistic community wellness providers. So to the viewing audience and even the folks that may be watching this on replay, if you are aware of any community wellness providers, holistic community wellness providers in your community, just put it in the chat. Let us know who some
Mm-hmm.
of those folks are, because they may be amongst us and we may not even know.
Mm-hmm.
Or if
So
there's a database too. Sometimes there's like a database. We've got
Chiropractors.
one on our website actually,
Mm-hmm.
something kind of like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's like big old lists somewhere, somebody compiling that somewhere on the internet too. So
Mm-hmm.
right. So yeah,
I
just
do many referrals. I do many referrals for chiropractic care, just
Mm-hmm.
things that, most people are not, think that pregnant women need, but chiropractic care, even with my colorectal cancer job, gastroenterologist specialist, any domain, because we know someone that could use that provider.
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, maternal mental health.
Mm-hmm. Big
Yeah.
one. Big one.
That is so under resourced. I can't. My mouth
Yeah.
is just floored, especially when I have called for resources for clients, and I'm like, you mean to tell me I have to send her here, or all there is a hospital? Like, it's not conducive to the true needs of people. But there are people who are on the front line doing the work, even if there is no money to do it. And those are the people we need to celebrate and uplift, because that's not sustainable. If we burn out our resources and we literally stay in the same place running our tires over and over and over, and that's not okay. So that's part of this movement of what we're doing.
So for maternal mental health, I'm gonna give a shout out to Kyra Adams, who is here in Tallahassee. Her organization is called MAPS, which stands for Maternal and Perinatal Services, and she does breastfeeding education, childbirth educating, postpartum, as well as to support and include pregnancy loss and support group. So I would include her in that list of providers here in the Tallahassee community. And then you mentioned elevating out of the paradigm of suffering and scarcity. So that's a whole show by itself.
First, we got to get ourselves out, right? And help the other at the same time. Like, yeah.
So as I say, and as has been mentioned tonight, everything starts with thought. Everything starts with mindset. So we've got to change our mind about things, right?
Yes.
If we believe we don't have, we don't have.
Correct.
And if we continue to speak, we don't have, we won't have.
And what is that? A frequency. A thought is a frequency.
Yep.
So we got to do what? Elevate the frequency. And even if it's not a conscious thing that's being said, people can feel vibes. And that is part of the revolutionary change, is that we always have to start on an elevated frequency together in community and move forward.
Yes. Navali said we must support our brothers and sisters that are in these professions and that are genuinely trying to help the community and not enable them to continue in unhealthy habits across the board. Yes, and we are what we project. Yes, agreed. So this went really fast.
Oh, that's a good sign, though. Right?
It went really fast, but I want to give you all an opportunity to give some closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you. And I think we'll start with Tifini, and then Lovengers, you all can close us out. All right. So, Tiff.
Hey. So, to reach me, I can be reached at Fertile Ground Family Services Inc. That's at Fertile Ground Family Services Inc. on Instagram. As far as my midwifery practice, that's fertilegroundmidwifery.com. Um, yeah, so I'm on all social media, most of the platforms, not on X, but if you have the Fertile Ground name, then you should be able to Google me. Um, Locally, I have an office over, as I said, at the Springfield community at 1704 Joe Louis Street. You can pop in anytime you see a car here. Either the office manager or myself can help you out with whatever you need. Um, Please send your people here. You may not need the resources, but there's someone definitely who could use our services, I'm sure. So please spread the word and come to our event on Saturday, December 2nd at 3030 South Adams Street at the Healing Place. Yeah, Baba Kufu just gave us a word this evening.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I need you to post that in the comments.
Yes, it's always good for a great word.
Yes.
All right. Audrey, Miles, what you got for us?
We have our link tree,
Oh,
which
yes.
actually is the easiest way you can get everything you need,
That's right.
which is our website, which is a resource to be elevated, educated, and empowered with music, playlists, educational resources, online videos, and links to NPOs that you may need additional resources from.
Yeah, nonprofit organizations.
And it has on there our free gift, our YouTube, our podcast,
The upcoming event link.
Yes,
yeah.
that too. That
Our
too.
new music video. We made a music video. Okay, she's sort of buried the lead. We got a music video out. It's super exciting.
And it also features our podcast where we discover, the hidden superpowers within and talk with other incredible individuals who are using their superpowers to make the world a better place. So it's a fun podcast. But yeah, the link tree has all the things. That's the easiest way to get all our content and get onto the YouTube and our social media platforms.
All right, very good. And so we will see you all on Saturday.
Yes,
Looking forward to
ma'am.
it.
We are excited to sing and play for you guys and to inspire us all with the message of hope and unity. Like, it is time, especially right now. It is time. It's time.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right. Well, Mama Asta says she's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Look
yes,
forward to meeting you.
indeed. So
Yes,
we
we will drum, we will sing, we will fellowship,
Mhm.
rain or shine, football game, Winterfest, all
yes.
that. It doesn't matter. We're gonna be
Rain
there.
or shine. It's gonna
It's
work
going
out.
down.
It's
One way
going
or
down.
So y'all heard that. Y'all know y'all been watching the weather for this weekend here in Tallahassee.
Oh, I heard. So
Bring
I'm
it.
like, okay,
Bring it.
okay, we'll be prepared for that
Right.
too.
Yeah, right.
We can dance in the rain.
All right, we can dance in the rain. So 1 o'clock, 1 to 5 at the Hole, 3030 South Adams Street. This is a Black wellness event. Fertile Ground is in conjunction with co-hosting this event, and it's a family event. It's free, open to the public, and we invite the entire community to come out and be a part of it. So look, we got Eddie on here. Look at him. All right, Eddie, you coming? We want to see you.
I love it.
See you. Yes, I appreciate that. All right. Now, Valerie said, I love and compassion and grace to you all. Spread the love and light. Yes, thank you so much. Lucky, he's gonna be there. Wonderful. Appreciate it. So I hope this conversation has benefited you all, the viewers and my guests. Please, let's keep this conversation going because it is a much needed one. Again, we have just scratched the surface of this. We really could have gone deeper, but You will hear more about this on Saturday. So again, you are all invited to come out. I appreciate you all for being here. I appreciate the viewers for being there. Eddie said he's gonna be there. And so we all want to be a part of this great conversation in this great event. Again, for those of you who have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. Conversations with Nicole. We are here Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and our focus is on mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities. If this conversation has benefited you, let us know in the comments. Mama Austin says she's gonna spread the word. Love it. Mama Austin is on it tonight, doggone it. I love it. All right, let us know. All right, Aunt Bernice says she wish she could be there. You'll be there with us in spirit, Aunt Bernice. All right. But for yes, Marcus, I see you. Marcus is in Tampa. Marcus, you need to come on up so you can participate in this event. That's what needs to happen. All right. Amala said, excellent conversation. Thankful. Thank you, Dr. Shabaka. We appreciate ya. I know you're gonna be there with your crew, so we appreciate you. So thank you. And Tifini, just much love and appreciation. I know that midwifery school was Listen, Tifini was driving back and forth. She was like, can y'all just help a sister out?
Please.
I remember those days too, because we was in a similar boat. Like especially after clinic, oh, you're gonna do the Uber thing? Oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah, my app.
I Ubered and
girl,
I did all the apps through school.
She did all the things. So I'm so glad she graduated. I really was. I was
because
so happy
we need more Black midwives in this community,
many more.
And it is part of my mission to make sure we can train more and have more in our communities, because that is part of the antidote to the crisis that we're in right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Big time.
Very good. All right, good people. You all be safe. And again, share this link with a family member, a friend, or somebody that you think will benefit from it. And again, let's keep this conversation going. We will see y'all next time. We'll see y'all this weekend, Saturday, 1:00.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye everyone.